thank you so much for taking the time out, joining us here on Startup Central. You know, like I said, BYJU'S is the world's most valuable, largest edtech company. You folks managed to even impress Disney. But even before starting BYJU'S, you know, we've heard those tales about how football stadiums would be filled, when one of you would be teaching and all of that. But I have to ask you, with India under lockdown, social distancing being the norm around the world, BYJU'S more than ever has to perhaps rise to the occasion and make sure that children don't suffer, that they can continue to study and learn.
Yeah, I think, in fact, if you look at a UNESCO report, it says that 850 million children are out of school today. So I think it's the time more than ever before that online learning can create an impact. The digital learning segment can create an impact so that children continue to learn no matter where they are. 100 years ago, when there was a different kind of pandemic, this was not even an option. But today, because of technology, our children can continue to learn. And I think that's a big opportunity that we have, albeit in a situation which is unfortunate. At least learning, which is crucial, to the wholesome development of children, doesn't need to suffer at all, and it can continue.
So, you know, BYJU'S has what, 42 million registered students, 3 million annual paid subscribers. So during COVID-19, during the lockdown, how are you doing things differently? That's a very large number of kids that come on BYJU'S to learn. Are you shaking things up? Are you also perhaps rising to the occasion and maybe, you know, offering more free services on the app?
Yes. So, I mean, in a small way that we could, we've kind of come out and did whatever help we could. One is we've opened up the app for free for all students, wherever they are, however they're learning, whichever grade they are in. They can access the learning on the app. They can access the content on the app. Also, starting today, we have announced that we will be having free live sessions, twice a week or thrice a week sessions, depending on which class the student is in, from their favorite teachers on the BYJU'S app, who can come and they can attend these classes from the comfort of their home. And they can also learn from the app, because now the lessons on the app are free. They can go through the lessons on the app, the videos on the app. They can come to the interactive live sessions by the teachers. They can continue learning in this situation where schools and tuitions are unfortunately closed, but they can continue learning with the help of this, and they can go back to the app, they can revise, they can practice, and they can master the concept. So there is no pause to their learning. Now they can continue to learn from home, from the comfort of the home, from the safety of their home.
But Divya, tell me something. Since COVID-19, have you at BYJU'S, and especially since you made the app free now, or whatever it is that you could make free on it, have you seen a surge in traffic?
Yeah, Nayantara, just to clarify, everything is free on the app. Right now, the entire app is open for students across the country to consume content. Okay, and from the time that the lockdown has happened, we've seen an overwhelming response. The number of new students who are coming onto the app every day and learning from it has gone up by 150%. So that's huge, and it's so nice to see that children are able to continue learning and use online learning and digital learning and benefit from it.
Okay, so you've seen such a large increase in traffic. Having said that, Divya, we have also to maybe, you know, work back end to make new courses, tailor-made courses. What's that been like for you folks?
So there are two aspects to it. And like I mentioned, one is the learning app, where the content was already created. Now it was already personalized. Now it's just that we've opened up that very same content to students, no matter where they're from, to learn from it. What is only new is the live classes which we have initiated, where students across the country can come at determined timings. So if they download the app, all they need to do is go ahead and register for the class for free, and they can come back when their schedule is up and attend it. So it's just that now all our teachers from home are taking classes for their students as per the schedule that's going on. So that's the only thing. So the team has been working really hard to put this together. We literally launched this feature in the app in a matter of just a week. So they've been literally working around the clock. And I think that's one of the new things which are out on the app, apart from the app being free overall for its content.
And can I ask you if you and your husband, the two co-founders, Ravindran BYJU and you, Divya, Are you also going to be taking any of these live classes?
Yes. In fact, I will be definitely taking the classes. So my first session is scheduled tomorrow at 11 a.m. So if you're free, please do join it. So along with me, we will all the teachers who are on the app will also be taking it. Of course, there will be more teachers who will be taking it because we have to run sessions from class 4 all the way up to grade 12, and then we've got math and we've got science, and then we've also got preparation for competitive exams like JE and NEET, all of that kick-starting right now. So we have a lot of sessions lined up. The schedule is available on the app for children to download and then see. And those who have the older version of the app, all they need to do is they need to update the app so that they can access the schedule of the live classes and attend it when it's live for them.
Okay, so you all need to actually maybe go through what Divya is telling you, so that you see the new features on the BYJU'S app. Divya, can I also ask you this? Since the lockdown, have you seen if there's any preference for certain kind of classes over others? I'm just trying to get some insights, some ideas, data analytics trends that you've noticed that are very interesting during the lockdown.
So what we've seen is in the lower grades where children are now, as you know, most of the exams have been either called off or they have been rescheduled. So wherever the exams have been called off and children have been moved to the next year automatically, we see a lot of traction for the next year course where children are consuming concepts, they're going through the basic videos, they're learning the concepts for the first time. And if you look at higher grades, they're looking more at the revision modules. Wherever the exams are just rescheduled, they're looking at the revision modules. They're trying to practice questions. They're making sure that they're understanding the concepts right. They're visiting the library just to brush up those difficult ones. All of that is what is happening. Again, like I said, what is overwhelming is that there is an equal response from metros and non-metros, which shows that across the country, people are actually benefiting from this, learning from this. And I think that's very heartening to see.
You know, you've created the world's largest edtech startup. Given that, how do you go into the entire challenge of how to price your product as well? You know, there is a belief that one must pay for it, but when things are paid for by subscription, there is usually a tendency to hold back, maybe not indulge in it. How has that entire battle and challenge been?
I think from the time we opened up financing options, where we made it much easier for people to go for subscriptions depending on what they want, what kind of course they want. Plus, there are various types of courses available. So depending on the number of subjects and everything. So it's very, very flexible in that sense. And I think it's at this point, right now, the focus, I think, is just about seeing whether students are benefiting from it, especially given the COVID situation. Not so much about, revenues and all of that, but can the country actually come out of this crisis? Can they come out of it feeling better, stronger, more empowered? And that, there is no out of sync for them. They've continued to learn throughout.
Okay, and how about the challenge of language? You know, particularly when you have COVID-19, when you have a lockdown, just to make sure that you're able to appeal across the country. Has that been a challenge?
Yeah, so the learning app is available in English and in Hindi. So we've tried to localize that. That being said, the offline version of the app is actually dubbed into multiple vernacular languages, not just English and Hindi. However, what we've seen is from across the country, be it a tier 1 or a tier 2 or any kind of city, English is a very aspirational language. So we've seen more intake for our English product itself. So considering the situation right now, I don't think it's very different in the sense of the type of students who are on the app today compared to what it was, say, a month or 2 months or 3 months before. All of these students were, it's very similar in the sense that we've never seen that they were not able to understand or were not able to use the app. Because see, the thing is visualizations, graphics on the app make it in a way even language agnostic, because when you see an image in front of you, it's beyond any language. So it's very, very easy in that sense to understand. That being said, it's also available in Hindi and other vernacular languages.
And, Divya, so much was said after you and Disney signed the licensing agreement. And, we've all seen how popular that has been, using the Disney characters in actually teaching kids and all of that. But, your global ambitions are not a secret. It's an open secret. Where is all that now at?
Yeah, so we're still creating products. So the thing is, it has to be adapted for each location. Now, whether you talk about US or you talk about UK or Australia, the curriculum, the syllabus, the way of teaching, it's very different. So as we speak, while I know maybe right now is not the time to tell you exactly what the plans are, we are definitely preparing ourselves to go global. We've always wanted to do that. But as much as global, we want to go local as well, because we feel that there is so much more to do within the country. There's so many students who need this product, who are going to benefit from this product. So I'll say it's in both ways. As we aspire to go global, we also aspire to go deeper in India.
So, do you want to share a little bit about how you want to go deeper in India? Because you guys really get the pulse of online learning. Like I said, we've heard tales about how people would come from so far to here and be taught by Ravindran Baiju. So you guys have the pulse of the people. How are you going to do it?
Yeah, so to go deeper in India, like one of the previous questions which you asked me about languages, I think opening it up to so many more languages. It's already available in almost every state board. So it's mapped to the curriculum of each and every state. The videos are open in each and every language, almost every language right now, major language. Also different subjects, because we're not restricting ourselves to math and science alone. Coming in the coming academic year, we're also going to have subjects like English language, social studies, history, civics, geography, all of that happens. So with this, we will be able to reach a wider audience. We'll be able to address the need of so many more students. So I think that's definitely one way in which we plan to go deeper in India.
And Divya, I wanted to ask you this one question. How would you react to those who say that maybe BYJU'S is actually for the niche Indian student or niche students, those that come from wealthy families? A, is that correct? Or is it a situation where you started your business like that and going forward, you will have different models which will be more affordable?
Yeah, so right from the beginning, Nayantara, the traction has been, if not the same, even more from non-metro. 65% of our students come from outside the top 10 cities. So it's not that it's only for the niche crowd. In fact, I think the aspiration, the requirement which is there in a tier 2 town is so much more, because they do not have the access which say a tier 1 student has. So they aspire for this kind of a product more, they need it more, they use it same or better. So I won't agree on that. And even today, like if you ask me, I think word of mouth and everything is just that if it benefits one student, the entire community would know how helpful it was to them. So that's another thing which is happening. So I think if you actually go up to our website and look at our reviews page, it's filled with responses from students and their thank you messages, which I can then personally say, because I'm a teacher myself, and I do have students calling me and mothers calling me from places like remote places in Gujarat, calling and saying that if I had a product like this, I would not be at home today, I would be working. It's so touching to know that. So there's so many like that. There's students calling in from remote areas in Kashmir, saying that sometimes we can't go to school, but we don't need to stop learning. So these are very, very good use cases. Girls from remote villages calling in, saying that their mothers calling in saying that I cannot send her to a tuition center because of security, but now she can learn from home. So this is definitely not a metro thing alone. This is for India, the real India. This is for everybody to learn from. We're working on making it more affordable by partnering with banks and creating more EMI options for them, or so that it'll be easier. So we're doing all of that.
Do you ever miss teaching in physical classrooms? I'm just asking you that question because you are a teacher. Do you ever miss that face-to-face interaction or being in a group of children, or do you really honestly, genuinely believe that online learning is the way forward and the only way to go?
I think online learning has made me, at least, or I think it can actually apply for everybody, makes you a better teacher. So once you start teaching using tools like animation, graphics, it makes learning so much more visual, so much more interesting, that you wouldn't want to teach in an offline class again, plainly because you're doing a much better job here. Just to tell you, I have a 6-year-old son, but you won't find me teaching him. My videos will be teaching him when he comes to that age, because I know that I'll be doing a much better job in that video. compared to how I would be in a in a real life class, because I can only do this much, and probably what I teach in an hour, I can do it in like 15-20 minutes in a much more effective way, using visuals, animations, graphics. The power of technology is unparalleled, and it can really make every teacher an even better teacher.
And have you ever done any analysis, any study to see that when you start using these kind of tools, like you said, whether it's animation, color, it could even be Disney characters, all of that, how kids are better at responding, better at picking up? Has there been any study to prove that?
Yeah, so if you look at a lot of studies, they say that 75% of our learners are visual learners, if I'm right. That being said, if you look at the engagement on the app, see, the thing is to make sure something is effective, first it has to be engaging. So students are typically spending 75 to 80 minutes per session on the app now. And when they're learning this way, not only do they enjoy doing it, it starts becoming more effective as well. So we've seen that in terms of, in a lot of, I would say the biggest metric would be, say, renewals, because if parents do not find learning like this effective, engaging is one part. If they do not find it effective, they won't subscribe again and again. So 85% of our students renew for the courses year after year after year, which I think is a strong indicator of how effective the learning programs are.
I'm going to ask you a slightly cheeky question, Divya. Are you a Shahrukh Khan fan? Was it your idea to rope in Shahrukh Khan, King Khan?
So who isn't a Shahrukh Khan fan, Nayantara? Is all that I want to say.
Are the children Shahrukh Khan fans? Our generation is filled with them, of course, but are the children responding to Shahrukh? Do they love Shahrukh?
Well, they seem to adore Shahrukh, and the mums seem to love Shahrukh. So you got the answer.
Is that the most popular courses that you have, the ones with him? I believe he's teaching math and all of that.
No, I mean, there aren't courses where he's teaching as yet with us, but that's a good idea.
There you go. If it works out for you, you have to know who you have to give royalty to. And Divya, are you going to do that maybe with the cricketers as well? Your association with cricket. I don't know whether it's you or your husband or both of you that seem to love cricket as well, or is that a pure strategy deal, word of mouth, to grow, to advertise, and build the brand?
I think any game, for that matter, teaches you a lot. It teaches you to learn. And I think that was one thing, because cricket is something which is very aspirational for the entire country. It inspires a billion budding dreams. So, and I think any sport, for that matter, is core to learning. And we've always, as a brand and as a message to children, have always said that, look, it's not just about studying. It's also about playing, because you also learn a lot when you play a game. You learn so many things, right from team spirit to controlled aggression to learning how to let go, to learn how to hold on to the things that matter. So all of this is something that only a game can teach you. Books can't, and it can only do that much. So I think games and playing are integral to the development of a child, and we've always believed as a learning company that playing and learning should go hand in hand. So that's where it closely fits for us.
Divya, I want to now just talk to you about the start of BYJU. Like I said, we've heard of all of these tales. Is it actually true about how stadiums would be filled up when Ravindran BYJU would be teaching? First of all, is that correct? That's what we had all heard.
So it's actually very interesting how it started. Something which started in a coffee shop with three friends, by someone who was just passionate about teaching and had some shortcuts to crack questions for different competitive exams. This is just pure word of mouth, where from coffee shops they just went ahead and they booked a class. He took a class, and it was a class of 50 filled up in a day. That those 50 people went and told everybody else, and then that classroom became an auditorium first. So it was a 1,000-seater auditorium. It's in Bangalore itself, and then from that auditorium it went on to become a stadium, because that is the biggest we could make it in an offline format. So that's the peak of what you see, and I think it's been crazy, because starting from it starts from a stadium, right? Our story starts from a completely offline, completely service based model to completely product and completely online today. So I think what we've held on to always has been great content, being an educational company at heart, making sure that quality is core to everything. So right from that point of time, it was about one rock star teacher inspiring millions of students. And I think that continues today. We have one app with great teachers in it, helping millions of students learn. So that way the essence has always been the same. But there is a lot to draw from where we started, and it actually continues. And we hold the same, I'll say, values and missions which we had then even now.
How do you do that, Divya? Because that's also an important lesson to learn, right? To stay humble, to stay grounded, to you may become a billionaire, but to still, stay grounded is also an important lesson that many never learn in their lives.
I think the day anybody thinks that they are successful, it's over. I think we have a long way to go. Everybody in the core team will tell you this. I think what's really kept us together and kept us grounded is the kind of team that we are. So when we started, say about 8-9 years ago, we were 10 students along, or 8 to 10 students along with Baiju who started. Today, all of us are here and we continue to be together. We work together. I think nothing has changed for us. While obviously at that point of time, we didn't know what we'll be doing, what we're doing today. But I think we've always been focused on. I think it's just been like, okay, we've decided that this is what we want to do. We've stayed focused to that. We've never let distractions come our way. And we've slowly and steadily grown. So that's why a lot of people think, oh my God, where did this company come from? Suddenly last 4 or 5 years, but it's not like that. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of effort. There's a lot of R&D, research, which has gone into doing what we've done today. And I think it's very, very important for every company to understand that we've got a long way to go. This is just the start. I think we've hardly done anything. I mean, it's too soon to say. So, like you introduced in such a grand way. You said you're the world's largest edtech company and all of that. But those are, I mean, beyond the point, it doesn't matter. What matters is today is what we are teaching impacting a child, and especially situations like this where they don't have any other opportunity to learn. Are we able to create an impact? Are we helping them continue to learn? Are we addressing a need? If the answer is yes, I think we can assume that we are on the right path.
Well, that's such a beautiful message out there, and it's nice to know that these are important lessons to learn. And sometimes our school curriculum doesn't include that, right? Like sometimes, very often, parents say, "Why don't we have a bit of philosophy, ethics classes?" We don't have any of that in the Indian curriculum. And Divya, as I start coming towards the end of this conversation, yes, of course, you've been successful, but it's nice to hear that you still want to go a long way. When you look back, do you still remember who developed the app for you, how the app started, the first pitch that you made to an investor? Was it a case of you going to an investor, or were you being chased?
So, okay, all our investors are great partners, but we've never really actively gone and pitched to investors. It's always been inbound interest. I think that's what happens when you have a very strong business model where you're addressing a need. So the first ever investment which came was from Aaron Capital, and it so happened that Mr. Ranjan Pai was walking past one of our video classes in Manipal, and he happened to see a classroom full of students looking at a screen. He could not see a teacher, and he wanted to know how kids from his college, who rarely attend classes, these are engineering graduates, are sitting together and sitting in rapt attention. So then he found out that it's BYJU'S class. They met over coffee, and then it just happened, and it's been very similar ever since. We've been very fortunate to have investors who think like partners and have been with us throughout this journey. So yes.
And what a collection you have, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just read out a few of them. You've got the Chat Zuckerberg Initiative, NASPER, CPPIB, General Atlantic, Tencent, Sequoia, and many more. I'm guessing, Divya, you've had to turn away many of them as well. In 2020, after Tiger Global's investment, I think the valuation was around, what, $8 billion. But during COVID-19, have they been calling you up very worried, or your business is actually one? And it's very sad that when there is a pandemic and all of that, when there is a crisis, there's an opportunity. And I guess BYJU is one of those businesses in the world where there will be immense opportunity.
I think it's fortunate that we are one of those companies who can be of I'll say positive relevance, and we can truly create an impact. We can actually help and set things moving from where it stopped. I think I'm very grateful to be part of a segment like that. And it's also a very high impact segment because learning is something that's very close to all of us. We don't want to let that go. Other things may stop, but we don't want to stop learning. So I think that being said, it's of course it is an opportunity, but I think it's great that people are realizing the potential of online learning. This was something I think which wouldn't have happened the way it's happening now, because it's almost a need to come online and learn, because that way you can have access to some of the best teachers. You can continue learning from wherever you are, whatever time you want, at your comfort. And that's actually how learning should be. If you think about it, it should be as per this, it should go as per the student's schedule and not as per anybody else's. When they want to learn, how they want to learn, what they want to learn, how much they want to learn, all of that. And I think students will take, the main seat now. Students will come forth, and parents and teachers will start acting as mentors, guiding them, supporting them. So we actually see a revolution where we are creating motivated and self-initiated, self-paced learners.
And like I said, there are those that are able to convert a crisis into an opportunity. When you're talking about some important life lessons, is there any message that you have for many founders who look up to you? They look up to your husband, Ravindran Baiju. They're looking for answers. They're looking at success stories, saying, hey, what do I do next? Do you have any message for them? Because, like you said, you literally started from the scratch and made your way up.
So what I want to actually say is that if at the underlying level, if you're actually addressing a need in society, then, and if you are able to solve any problem at scale, and that's what I think a tech company does. The strength of a tech company is that you can solve any problem at scale. So if they're able to do that, and if they're passionate and driven at making that happen, it will definitely happen. Of course, there will be a lot of change and strategies. What you envision your product to be would probably change. The way you offer it would change. But I think it's important to ride with the wave. It's very important to be constant with your core, but be flexible with the way you execute it. That's very important. And idea to implementation, I think, is the most important thing. Like I said, our team turned around the app in a week's time to make our latest feature available. It's almost revolutionary the way they did it. So I think having a team, and like I always said, it's very easy to start a mission-driven company. What's really the challenge is to stay mission-driven, and that will happen if the core team is mission-driven and they're able to translate that energy, positivity, and passion across at each and every level.
So as I start wrapping up this conversation, Divya, I'm going to make this last one slightly personal. I hope you'll give me the leeway. It's not always easy to work all the time with your husband, and you're doing it. How do you do it? I'm sure a lot of the women founders tuning in, or the guys who are working with their wives, will want to know that how do you make sure that part also stays, and is there a boss in the equation?
I think working together is the key. And I think when there is a lot of respect in a relationship, things work out, you make them work out. And I think, and always at BYJU'S, there isn't one person who takes a decision. It's not just about the two of us. And because for us, family is the entire core team. Okay, so that's the reason I keep bringing that back. So say the 8 of us, we always sit together for each and every decision. So one person may propose the idea, 3 people may support him or her, the other 3 or 4 would go against. But then when we decide, everybody goes towards the same idea, the final solution, the final proposal. They stick to it together like nobody can break it. I think that's the difference. It's not just about 2 of us. So yes, it is the same, whether it's the 2 of us or whether it's the entire team. I think we work together as one unit. Maybe that's why it works out so far. It's worked out so well so far, touch wood. And yeah, so that's my answer to your question, if it answers it.
Because that's also very important, right? When you're working with your spouse, to make sure that you also learn to agree to disagree. And with that, Divya, I'm going to wish you and the entire team at BYJU'S all the very best. Thank you for this interview. Stay safe. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's BYJU'S for you on ET now. They've got a lot that they're up to, literally rising to the occasion, making sure they launch live classes so that India doesn't fall behind, our children don't fall behind. We may be in lockdown, but your kids don't need to suffer.